This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Stick around to hear more about the discount they're providing to the entire upper echelon community. Alright, everyone saw the title and they're wondering what could this trend possibly be and why should I even care? To answer that question as quickly as possible here, the trend is SMS Protect and phone verification by major video game titles such as Overwatch 2, as well as the upcoming Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And while many news creators have briefly touched on the subject and churned out constant videos for maximum viewership, I haven't seen anyone yet thoroughly discuss why it's a terrible thing, beyond shallow citation of a few social media outbursts and backlash on Reddit. It seems to me that instead of delving into why the move itself is an impending catastrophe for average players, video game creators are simply regurgitating the social atmosphere on their most trafficked media sites. That's fine, and certainly some of the largest creators in the entire YouTube ecosystem that cover video games are raking in colossal viewership by doing this, but over the years I've started to take pride in looking for coverage angles that have been largely ignored, and right now this feels like precisely one of those angles. It's been covered on the surface ad nauseum by more channels than I can count. Phone verification bad, gamers are angry, privacy unfair, restrictive, etc., but not a single one of those videos that I have seen will tell you precisely why it is such a terrible trend. None of them delve into the source material on how it will directly impact hundreds of millions of people, and not a single one of them adequately examines the topic beyond reading headlines. Effectively, Activision Blizzard is one of the largest publishers in the entire industry. Sony is fighting right now tooth and nail to prevent Call of Duty from becoming exclusive to Xbox in any capacity during the takeover by Microsoft, and now a multifaceted decision to require SMS Protect phone verification in major titles by Activision Blizzard is becoming the next frontier of harmful or disruptive policy in video games. Let's just do a quick overview on what the policy actually is before delving into why you should be very concerned. On the surface, it's a simple change. Overwatch 2, which has now slightly backtracked on this, by the way, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, on release, required, or will require, that users implement a verifiable phone number in their Battle.net account. This is described as an effort to prevent cheaters or disruptive players as a part of their self-titled defense matrix, but there's more. According to an official Overwatch 2 announcement, quote, a phone number can only be used once when making a new account, and certain types of numbers, including prepaid and VoIP, cannot be used for SMS Protect, end quote. That's the key right there, because when you take this one seemingly innocuous policy change that has sparked a fair bit of social media backlash, sure, but how bad could it really be, and zoom out on a global scale, connecting a series of dots that so far no one appears to have connected, you will realize that this change is ridiculous and should never be allowed to proceed. Alright, time for one of the oldest and most valued sponsors of the channel, Surfshark. We live in the exponential curve of technology. It's a fact. More and more of our daily lives will take place through digital portals, and this kind of unprecedented digital access requires protection. Surfshark is a VPN provider, virtual private network, and VPN services come with a hefty number of important security measures. Surfshark helps offer protection from a wide range of threats, including phishing attempts, malware, DNS tunneling, DDoS attacks, spyware, and also helps preemptively mitigate data harvesting, as well as tracking by major technology firms and social media platforms. If you're more interested in the world of entertainment, that's fine. Surfshark can help unlock additional content on streaming websites, such as Netflix, for example, because location is tied to licensing. Simply change your region and enjoy a wider selection, providing value for your dollar in terms of leisure activities as well. Surfshark can also get you past governmental censorship, such as a restriction on specific news publications, and also offers IP protection in a world where that simple string of numbers is unbelievably important. Today, they are offering 83% off and 3 full months free if you click the link down below using promo code Echelon. Again, that's promo code Echelon and 3 full months for free if you click the link down below in the description. Big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring the channel. Let's really dig in here. First is definitions. Telecom companies largely offer two types of individual services: prepaid phone plans and postpaid phone plans. Prepaid is pretty straightforward. You buy minutes or data and use it till it's gone, topping up when you feel like or waiting till there's more next month. And postpaid phone plans follow a subscription billing format where you have a set payment amount per month, usually over the span of multiple years under direct contract, with higher data limits and much more features. Activision Blizzard is now taking two of the most popular titles, Call of Duty being one of the most popular entertainment franchises in all of human history for that matter, and pushing for a post-paid only SMS verification framework. Now, for anyone who already has a post-paid cell phone plan, maybe it's yours, a family plan that you're under, or your parents pay for it, who knows. For anyone who already has this, the change isn't all that concerning. Make the account, use the number, play the game, etc. However, for anyone who does not have a post-paid phone plan, this is a highly disruptive change that effectively takes the relative cost of a game that you want to play and multiplies it by over 1,000%. Let me explain. In various PR statements, the Overwatch 2 developers, that's Blizzard, stated that moving to free to play for Overwatch 2, together with enabling cross platform with cross progression, means anyone can access the game and join their friends for free, which we are incredibly excited about. End quote. That's a nice sentiment, it really is, but it is entirely untrue. Overwatch 2 is now free to play, quote unquote, but if it requires SMS phone verification from a non prepaid plan, no, it isn't. Even the cheapest non-prepaid phone plans from major carriers will run you, I don't know, $30, $50, even $70 a month. A few simple searches of popular phone plan vendors will show you that prepaid plans are cheapest, obviously, postpaid plans are far more expensive, and if you're locked into a 2-year postpaid phone agreement at, I don't know, $30 a month, for example, that's over $1,200 in total. Overwatch 2, now being free to play so that friends can join each other, has a hidden cost of what, maybe $1,000, which you might already be paying, but if you're not, it's still there. Or at the very least, hundreds, depending on your plan, whatever you choose, and is melded together with a telecom contract that not everyone has. Let's expand on this further. According to Statista, 40% of global respondents in a survey on personal phone plan selected prepaid, with 6% stating that they did not know. What does that mean? Well, if prepaid phone plans just don't work with Overwatch 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, it's 40% of the population that cannot play the games unless they pay hundreds of dollars to do so, opening a third-party contract in the process with a telecom company, or resort to illicit methods just of duping the system. On its face, that's not a good change, but we're just getting started because the reality behind this trend is actually unbelievable if you consider global finance trends and connect a series of dots as far back as 2008. According to pandemic research from an organization called DING, referring to GPI or Global Prepaid Index, 7,000 participants were surveyed globally, resulting in 79% of responses indicating that they engaged with at least one touch point in the prepaid market. That's a high number, but if the prepaid market entirely included a number of different industries and options, how does it relate? Simply put, it relates because 61% of that 79% indicated that their touch point with the prepaid market was phones directly, thereby indicating that roughly 48%, basically half, of those participants have prepaid phone plans. Now, this number is marginally different when compared to 40% from Statista, but we can explain this, through time, by delving into research behind pandemic spending and consumer decision-making. According to Lowenstein, quote, as of the third quarter of 2020, there are about 74 million prepaid subscribers in the United States, according to New Street Research, end quote. That's actually lower than the global average, sitting at roughly 25%, but if we read on, quote, the other major development this year is COVID-19 and its impact on the economy. At COVID's onset in March, several Wall Street analysts predicted a shift to value, which would mean a rise in prepaid's share of the market, which occurred in a major way in the 2008-2009 recession. That hasn't really happened yet. This is due, in part, to the fact that the delta between postpaid and prepaid prices is much narrower than it was 10 years ago. Another factor could be that the cable MVNOs have taken some share that might have drifted to prepaid. However, if the recession deepens and the economic disruption is protracted, we could well see some significant shifts in subscriber behavior toward prepaid, end quote. Now, let's obviously cross-reference this to be sure. According to the New York Times in 2009, titled More Customers Give Up the Cell Phone Contract, quote, Sprint and T-Mobile, the number 3 and number 4 carriers in the country, are particularly aggressive about courting prepaid customers. In the fourth quarter, 355,000 of the 621,000 customers that T-Mobile added were prepaid users, end quote. That figure is over 50%, well over 50% of new users being under a prepaid format, as telecom companies specifically target that particular demographic and service during the third quarter of 2008, aka the Great Financial Recession. And according to Lowenstein, if recession deepens and the economic disruption is protracted, we could see significant subscriber shifts towards prepaid. Hopefully the picture is now forming, but let's keep adding pieces to the puzzle. The United States right now is undergoing what's called quantitative tightening. This is a complex thing, but loosely refers to the Fed, the Federal Reserve, raising interest rates periodically to combat inflation. The target is 2% right now, and we're way above that currently. According to economist Steve Hanke, and also according to the data itself, obviously, as of October 2022, the dollar is gaining relative strength against most other currencies around the world. In fact, it's the vast majority of them. In context, UN agencies, United Nations agencies, and the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, are directly warning of a global recession if the Fed does not ease the quantitative tightening. However, the Federal Reserve is a domestic agency in the United States, and at the root of their policymaking agenda is domestic inflation. As of right now, there seems to be no impact of these warnings, and no plan whatsoever to reverse this course, leaving us on a pathway to global recession, according to numerous experts, in the aftermath of a pandemic-driven financial whirlwind of sorts, and none of us really know how bad it will actually get. Pulling all of these different unique puzzle pieces together, we see a very clear picture. Something like 40 to 50% of the global population uses prepaid phones. Protracted economic downturn radically increases not only the percentage of people using those phone plans, but the advertising and consumer priority placed on acquiring customers who do so by major telecom companies. And all of these factors are coming together at once, simultaneously, as a financial storm gains speed on a global scale. Video games like Call of Duty and Overwatch 2 are implementing SMS protection that requires a certain type of telecom contract, at a time when the ratio of users who are actually willing to have that contract, due to excessive cost, is about to dramatically fall. During 2008 and 2009, users were switching plans in droves because a prepaid option would save hundreds, if not over $1,000 per year, depending on household size. And yet, if the same thing happens now, you would be barred from accessing what are purported to be free video games if you did that. The question is actually quite simple here. If this trend were to continue and take hold, think about microtransactions or loot boxes or games as a service, and how one example became widespread industry norms now, are we okay with denying access to roughly half of the global population of users who ordinarily would be able to play because a third-party and highly expensive telecom contract is now for some reason required in a period of time where prepaid cheaper options are infinitely more desirable? To once again reiterate here, this problem does not affect users who currently enjoy the benefits of a post-paid plan. But if we broaden our perspective just a bit, this new trend would be extremely damaging to the accessibility of popular video games. To that end, I'm left wondering why. Sure, it may combat the disruption of a small minority who routinely create new accounts when suspended, but the diligent ones can just find a way around it anyway. There's spoofing services that people already have which can do this. But it also means more information stored by third parties, like your phone number, that is vulnerable to data breaches. It means less people, hundreds of millions of them, who actually could play the game theoretically without this new policy, will be denied access without spending obscene amounts of money in another contract, or learning how to execute illicit activities in order to bypass this. From top to bottom, it's a change that harms a very large portion of the accessible market by turning something that otherwise should be available into a highly expensive non-option. I have no idea why they would actually do this, because gaming publishers do not care that much about player experience when compared to raw profit and accessible market. That much is certain. Just look at how they act with regards to the Chinese market. So why on earth would this policy change make any sense at all? My own speculation, maybe they have a massive telecom deal. Maybe they are literally getting paid to do this because there will be some portion of the player base that open post-paid plans just to access Call of Duty or another major video game franchise, or just to make a Battle.net account. Is it the ever-tightening initiative of total surveillance and interconnectedness? Is it a backroom contract with major technology firms? I have no idea, but the fact remains that this is one of the least discussed yet most concerning trends that I've ever seen arise in video game industry, period. It's got plenty of backlash on a surface level, but going deeper, it is legitimately harmful. Blizzard has pretended that their goal with a free-to-play version of Overwatch 2 is to increase access and make it so everyone can play together, and they have since walked back this phone requirement to only brand new Battle.net accounts. But this new defense matrix policy change has the precise opposite impact of increasing access by actually denying access to nearly half of all people with cell phones, at a time when that number is going to dramatically increase. Bottom line, sometimes things happen in the video game world that deserve severe backlash. This is one of them. It should be commonly accepted in the space that this is a damaging move, an unacceptable overreach, and the exact opposite of pro-consumer behavior. Maybe they will still do it, and will fail at pushing back, but at the very least we should all be aware of it. That's it. If you want to support, there are links down below, primarily locals and Patreon, monthly fee to help out the channel. That's basically what they're for. Also, Odyssey, a YouTube platform alternative. All of my content is dual uploaded there as well. There is merch, social media, the video sponsor, Surfshark, check it out down below, and another YouTuber to check out as well, plus more, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.